Good evening. I'm Theresa and this is Forum Daily for Wednesday, January 15th. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office says that a ceasefire deal with Hamas has still not been reached and that the final details are still being sorted out. That comes after multiple mediators had said that Israel and Hamas agreed to a ceasefire in Gaza and the release of dozens of hostages after more than 15 months of war. Any deal is expected to pause the fighting and bring hopes to winding down the most deadly and destructive war Israel and Hamas have ever fought. Earlier, we sat down with Daniel Rubenstein, Israeli citizen spokesperson and former advisor to Benjamin Netanyahu, who discussed the potential implications of a ceasefire.
Yes, emotions are running very high in Israel right now. This war, when it started with the Hamas invasion on October 7th, the killing of 1,200 people and the taking of hostages, the Israeli government had two goals in this war. The first was the dismantlement of Hamas's military and government capabilities, and the second was the safe return of every hostage that Hamas took on October 7th. Now, the challenge is that Hamas took hostages for a reason. The reason that Hamas took hostages is so that it could say, here's your sister, here's your mother, we've got your daughter. If you want them back, you have to accept a deal that allows us to remain in power in Gaza, where we will try to carry out more October 7th massacres again and again. So there are competing emotions on this very divisive and difficult issue, and that a segment of the Israeli public is saying or emphasizing the safe return of the hostages, and other parts of the public are saying, of course, we want every hostage home immediately, but at the cost of a potential further war with Hamas is a very difficult risk. And it's not just that, because this current deal that has been proposed, we don't know all the details, but what has been published is that this is a phased deal, meaning the deal happens in a number of phases. In the first phase, Hamas does not release every hostage. Hamas releases 33 hostages in phase one, and Israel releases, I think, something like 1,000 people from Israeli prisons who have tried to harm Israelis. But after this phase, Hamas is continuing to hold hostages, and in the next phase, Hamas is demanding that Israel completely withdraw from Gaza in exchange for the release of the remaining hostages. So I don't know how it will play out. I don't know how it will end. But what I see happening is that Hamas wants to keep some hostages as some measure of insurance against protection, that it will remain in power, that it will be in a position to control the food supply in Gaza, that it will be in a position to control the border crossings, that it will be in power, and it will be able to rebuild what it lost in the past 15 months and try to carry out more massacres in the future.